Paul, you are a recovering addict yourself. But could I just ask you, mate, why is this situation seemingly so bad in Scotland, so much worse than anywhere else it seems to be in the UK?
Yeah, great question. I think that I can tell you what it's not. It's certainly not poor breeding, which many people seem to think. My parents were very strict. A lot of my friends who are addicts still today, their parents were very strict, or are very strict. One of the biggest problems we have in Scotland is boredom.
You could get bored anywhere. I know, mate, is it the weather? Is it the light? Is it, you say boredom there, lack of opportunity of things to do? Where were you brought up and what was your addiction?
So I was brought up in Edinburgh. My addiction was heroin. I became addicted to heroin at 18 and all the way through to the age of 25. I was integrated into a gang in Edinburgh from primary school age. There were drugs on the scene from the get-go. Tins of gas, sniffing glue, cannabis, alcohol. Everybody used, not everyone, most people used those drugs because they were bored of a night time. The boxing clubs, there wasn't any. The football clubs, there wasn't any. All these things that we should have in society to prevent kids from becoming bored the way they do, running the streets and causing trouble. These things should be created, and the ones that were created have been taken away in Scotland due to lack of funding, which really annoys me.
Well, look, Paul, your own story, I mean, unsurprisingly, it ruined your life. You went down to rock bottom after becoming addicted to heroin. At one point, you became suicidal. But you did manage to turn your life around. You've written a book about your experiences. And, of course, what you can tell us is hugely important. What do you want to see from this task force report today? What do you think needs to be done to help people like you who've been through it?
Thank you. Yeah, this is the thing for me. What we've been trying in the past is not working. It has not been working. So why would we continue to keep trying the same things to fix the same problem? That, for me, is common sense. What I offer and what I have been offering for 2 years, I've spoke to Angela Constance on the phone, I've spoke to other MSPs, and, you know, I'm banging on their doors and saying, listen to me, I'm 18 years off heroin. If I can get to 18 years off heroin, I can go on to become a guardsman, stand outside Buckingham Palace, become a proud author, and I can do all this and do all these. And I'm visiting schools, I'm visiting prisons, all off my own back. Then you should really be listening to me. And what I'm saying is, I offer an alternative.
Which is?
That's what.
What is the alternative?
So my alternative is that I attended a course in Edinburgh about my mind. It had absolutely nothing to do with addiction at all. I sat on a course for 1 week and learnt about the mind, the subconscious, the creative subconscious, self-talk, how I view myself in the mirror as an addict, as a heroin addict,
Okay, well, that worked for you, and congratulations with that. I want to introduce you to a man in studio here, Norman Baker. Norman Baker was an ex-drugs minister in the coalition government. Heroin was his choice of drug, Paul's choice of drug. What would you like to say to Paul about that?
Well, first of all, I want to congratulate Paul on coming through it and taking the steps he's taken to draw attention to his life and what that might be for other people in terms of benefits. But, you know, I also want to say that the way we have dealt with drugs in this country hasn't worked. I undertook a comparative study when I was a minister which looked at other countries, and what the outcome of that was very clearly was that those countries that treated drugs as a health issue rather than as a criminal issue, not only was it more humane, but it actually got the number of addictions and the number of people using drugs down. Places like Portugal got far less of a drug problem, although the penalties are far lower. Those don't go together. OK, Paul, we've got 45 seconds left or so. What would you say in response to what Norman has said there?
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that the way that Portugal are approaching it, people don't understand that, you know, it's not a criminal issue. All heroin addicts are not criminals. Society deems them that way through education, but not all heroin addicts are criminals. Some people are just lost. Some of the nicest people I've met in my life have been heroin addicts. So don't put everybody in the same boat. Give everybody individually, as a human being, a chance, and let's try and work together to try and make them clean.